Hello, welcome to a new video. It is that time of the year because it's July, which is past the halfway mark in the year. It is time for my mid-year book freakout tag. I have a real bee in my bonnet about when this should be filmed, and it should not be filmed before the 1st of July, because if you film it in June or before, it's not the middle of the year. So I am sticking to that, and it is currently the 5th of July when I'm filming this, so yeah. So same questions as every year, just different answers. So question number 1, what is the best book you've read so far in 2025? Now this was tough. It was between two, and it was actually so hard to decide. The other one is on this, but yeah, it's Tusk Love by Thea Guanzan. I switched the cover, but you will recognize it more from this cover. But I switched the cover around because Jester. I'm wearing my Jester dress. Jester. So yeah, Tusk Love. This is amazing. You don't have to have watched anything Critical Role to read this book and enjoy it. This alternative dust jacket might not make sense to you if you haven't watched Critical Role, but the actual book itself is absolutely fine to read. Question number 2 is, what has been your favourite sequel of the first half of the year? Now, this is tough. So this book is actually book 3, and I have already read book 4, but it's To You at the Altar by Rebecca Thorne. I think this is my favourite in the series. I absolutely love book 4, don't get me wrong, but this was my favourite out of them, and I read this back in January. It's either January or February, I'm pretty sure it was January, and it's still like my favourite sequel of the year. Next is there a new release that you haven't read yet but you're really excited for? Dragon Riders of Raw by Jenny McLaughlin. I don't get excited about middle grade much anymore, but the Land of Raw series is still one of my favourites, and I would reread that series. So when I found out there was a 4th book, I was very happy, and it came out a few months back, and I haven't read it yet. So I would like to get to this soon. Whether I will is another matter. Number 4 is, what is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? I've got quite a few anticipated releases. I'm going to tell you about 2 right now. So first is Mate by Ellie Hazelwood. This comes out in, I want to say, October. I am so excited because if you've read Bride and you know the ending to Bride where it opens it up for this book, when I tell you, I'm so excited. I cannot wait for these characters to have their story. And then the second one is Empire of the Dawn by J. Kristoff. Because, of course it is. I am really annoyed that the initials for the book is once again EOTD, which is what book 2 is. Because now, if I say EOTD, or type EOTD, people are going to be like, well, is that book 2 or 3? Nobody's going to know. So yeah, but I'm really excited for this, and this comes out in November. Number 5 is, what is your biggest disappointment so far? I hate this. So I was torn between 2 options for this. The first option being, I don't think it was marketed correctly, and the story wasn't what I thought it was going to be. But I'm actually going with The Baby Dragon Cafe. I wanted to love this, and if I was rating it based on just the baby dragon Sparky, this would not have been a disappointment, because baby Sparky was perfect and could not do no wrong even when it was getting up to mischief. But this was supposed to be an adult romance, and it felt more like a YA but written for middle grade, and it just didn't match with what it should have been whatsoever. So I was disappointed in that. Number 6 is, what is your biggest surprise so far? For this, I'm going with Silvercloak by Laura Stephen. Now, I'm not surprised that I loved it, because I knew I would. I was expecting to. I've loved the other books by Laura Stephen that I've read, so I knew I was going to love this. The surprise was how much I loved this. Like, this book was so good, and like, I wasn't expecting it to get a, like, that high of a 5-star. So it was definitely a surprise, a pleasant one. Number 7 is, what is your favourite new to you or debut author? Now, I am slightly cheating with this one, because I'm going to say Delilah S. Dawson. I've read 2 of her books this year. I had read one of her books last year. However, the book I have previously read by this author was one of her Star Wars books. So it was very much Star Wars. So I feel like her writing was different because it was Star Wars, whereas the 2 books I've read this year are her horror books. I've read Bloom and I've read Guillotine. And I absolutely loved both of these, but Bloom blew me away. Like, that book was so good for someone who doesn't read horror and especially doesn't do body horror. Both of these books were just incredible, and it's made me want to read more by this author in her horror genre as well as Star Wars, but like in her horror genre. Number 8 is newest fictional crush. I don't do fictional crushes really, but I am just going to say Oscar and Guinevere from Tusk Love because I love them both so much. They can do no wrong. Number 9 is who is your new favourite character, and it's got to be Meep from The Spell Shop. I can't tell you really about Meep because it's a character that comes into it later and I don't want to spoil it. But there's also Kaz in this, which is a sentient spider plant. But both of them, but especially Meep, because Meep is adorable and I love them. Number 10 is a book that made you cry. I cry at quite a few books, but I didn't sob at anything this year that wasn't a reread. The way I sobbed at Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I knew I was going to cry at this. I knew it was going to break me because I have read the original trilogy and this was Haymitch's story. But boy, whew, that one really hit me in the feels multiple times. Literally a knife to the heart. But I still loved it. Number 11 is a book that made you happy. It's F.T. Lucan's. Of course it makes me happy. It's Love at Second Sight. The new release by them. I genuinely can't tell you how much I love F.T. Lucan's. I say it every time I talk about one of their books in one of my videos. They can do no wrong with these books. They make me so happy. I love them so much. This was the other one that was the possible favourite book of the first half of the year. It was this and Tusk Love. And it was really tough to choose Tusk Love. But then it would have been really tough to choose this over Tusk Love. It was a whole, breakdown. Number 12 is, what is the most beautiful book that you have bought this year? Now, this is sort of a cheat because it's an Afterlight edition. And don't get me wrong, I have bought some beautiful books this year. But a lot of them are Fairy Lou, Romantasy, Illumicrate, or Afterlight. But this one, it's just adorable. So it's First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. But look at the edges. They are so cute. And then this is adorable. I love it so much. Have I read the book yet? No. But it's a beautiful book. And then the final one is, what books do you want to read by the end of the year? So I'm going to give you 4 books, technically 5. I'll explain. So Human Rights by Juno Dawson is actually on my TBR for this month. I've pre-ordered the audiobook and I will be listening to it / reading it as soon as I can this month. I think it comes out on the 17th of July. So I definitely want to read this and it will be on the list. I lied. There's 5 books, technically 6. Again, I will explain. Then we have The Executioners 3 by Susan Dennard. I'm really excited for this. I've loved everything I've read by Susan Dennard, so I do actually have an e-arc of this. I just haven't got to it yet. I would like to get to it before it comes out in, I think, September or October. I can't remember which one, but we'll see. I don't know yet. Then we have Holy Terrors by Margaret Owen. This is the final book in the Little Thieves trilogy and I'm really excited to get to this. I do, however, need to read The Fallow Year first, which is a set of short stories, I believe, that she posted on her AO3. I have them on my Kindle. I just haven't got around to reading them yet, but I will. I'm going to read Fallow Year soon so I can read this. Next is The Broken Sword by L.L. McRae. I'm so excited for this book. It comes out this month and I've got it pre-ordered, but I also may be getting an e-arc of it. I think I am, because I did for the other 2 and I'm pretty sure I got an email saying that e-arcs would be going out. I'm really excited for this. I've loved the first 2 books and support indie authors. So yeah. And then the final one, which is why it's 5 kind of 6 is because I'm going to finish the Rhaenyra Revelations series. So this is one book here. However, there's 2 books inside it. This is books 5 and 6. And it is, what 2 books? What's the name of the books? Let's have a look. So this is volume 3. But the books are Wintertide and Persepolis. So I would like to finish this year. I read books 3 and 4. I think it was last February, or was it this February? I know it's for a series TBR-a-thon. I think it might have been this February. I can't remember. It probably wasn't. It was probably last February, and I'm like a year and a half behind on finishing the series. But I would like to finish this because I absolutely love this series, and I want to read the final 2 books. So yeah, so that is my first half of 2025 done, wrapped up. How is it already July? So yeah, let me know in the comments what has been your favourite book of 2025 in the first half of the year. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Bye.